Hello and welcome to week 7 of our NFL picks video. My name is Chris, and join with me is my terrible at picking games duo partner, Jason.
Hey Chris, look, we can't all be Chris Casey.
True enough.
I don't think I was terrible in week 6 so much as, and I hate to admit it, you were awesome. So,
Well, the only thing that stopped you from being terrible is that we both picked the same thing. Surely,
I
if there
mean,
were more games, you would have proved yourself.
the fact that, you picked correctly as well as me,
That's a good
doesn't,
spin.
doesn't take away from the fact that I picked those games correctly as well.
All right, to recap from last week, I went a season high record breaking 13-1, snapping Jason's week 1 record of 13-3,
And
and
number of wins.
Jason went 10-4, and that brings our season total up to, for me, 61-31, and then Jason takes a depressing 6-game second place to me with 55-37 as the gap widens.
I don't think I've ever heard something described as a 6-game second place before, but I will catch up this week.
All right, let's see. Gotta put your money where your mouth is. All
I've been
right,
trying to make a bet with you on this the whole time, and you've been like, no, that's stupid.
it was metaphorical.
All right.
All right, to recap, first off, we both. Oh, you actually picked the Seahawks to lose this game, yeah? I mean, the
Yeah.
Seahawks have overperformed in a number
Win.
of games, so I don't think that was totally out of the question.
Mhm.
And the 49ers have been underplaying for sure. But
49ers have been disasters, but yeah, this game, I knew it wasn't going to go well for the week for me when this came in.
yep. And then it was just bad news on from that for like the next
Yeah,
9
pretty
games.
much.
Next up, we got Chicago. I think you've picked against the Browns every single time I've picked the Browns. So this one is snapped you in the ass almost every week this season.
All right, so Mr. Genius, I've got some news for you. Chicago ain't the Browns.
Oh, I meant the Bears. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Have I picked against the Bears every single time?
It feels like I've picked them a lot of times, and I know you've picked against me a lot of times. I've picked them
Okay, I'll keep talking. I'm gonna look through real quick and see.
at least 2 or 3 times, it seems.
Yeah, looks like I had him against Indy in week 3, and that might be it. Okay, go on. You don't need to pause.
Feels
Tell,
like a
tell me
lot
how
more
great you
than
were.
that.
Come on, we're
Gotta,
making a video here,
yes,
Chrissy.
I got to continue my grandstanding. All right. And then in the banger of a game, I did get this game, and it was fun to watch. The Ravens beat the Redskins, but it was a very close game. It was very fun, very cool game. And then next up, this one I
Yeah, the
think was probably
Commanders' offense didn't look quite as good as it had for the last few weeks, but certainly wasn't bad. Baltimore was really impressive in this game.
yep. And then this was the one I was actually the most worried about because I thought it was the biggest toss-up was Arizona
Uh,
against the Packers. I know the Packers kind of ran away with this, but I don't think this was obviously you didn't either. Very one-sided or going to be
yeah,
one-sided.
I didn't see this game at all. Do you see any of it? Like, what happened?
No, I didn't get this one in my market, but
All I saw was just a couple highlights where it looked like, Love was just destroying them.
all I can say. I've been ragging on Kyler Murray since he came in the NFL, and I've been
So is everybody
vindicated.
else.
Well, I think it's well deserved, man.
I think the only person who likes Kyler Murray is my dad.
And then we go down to Houston, dumpstering the Patriots. We both picked that. We got an absolute demolition of the now 4 losses in a row Saints after starting 2-0. That's pretty depressing. By
Yeah,
the
we both
Bucks.
called this for Tampa Bay, but
Yep.
yeah, New Orleans, and they played, I think, competitively in this one, right? But
Up to the last 10 minutes, and then the Bucks scored 20 points in 4 minutes or
oh,
something.
that's right, that's
Something
right.
like
Yeah, but I
that.
was flipping back and forth with this game between that and I think
Yeah,
Baltimore.
Baker had
And
4 turnovers this game.
Tampa looked fine for most of it. If anything, the reason it was close seemed to be that just a few plays weren't going their way when they could have.
Or the 4 turnovers, yeah.
Oh yeah, the end was just Often, look, teams when they get like more than one score behind in the fourth, they correctly get a little bit desperate, and they try to make things happen, and that's when the house starts to just collapse.
No, the Bucks had 4 turnovers.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. But like
Uh,
most of them were near the end of the game. Yes. Oh, the Bucks had four turnovers. Yes.
yeah,
Sorry. So sorry. Um.
that's what made
Go
this
on.
close.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we have the Eagles just barely surviving the pathetic Browns in a very close game. We both picked the Eagles naturally, but the Eagles are definitely playing below their standards this season.
Cleveland is a bad team. Like Philadelphia is not the AFC championship contender that I think everybody thought they were going to be coming into the season.
For sure, they're giving the Cowboys hope. And then next up, Joe Flacco wins again, and we both picked the Colts against the Titans. You stopped
Uh-huh.
picking the Titans, so that's a good thing.
Tea time is over.
And then in my lone fuck up of the week, which kept me
Mhm.
from putting in a perfect week, the Chargers, and I do think it was an upset because the Broncos were red hot, just barely managed to scrap past the. I know it was an early lead that the Chargers had, but it didn't really get too out of control, and they end up winning by just a measly 7 points. And for like one of the best defenses in the league coming into this game, they definitely wildly underperformed.
Well, this was a blowout for most of the game for the Chargers, and it wasn't like Denver scored points in garbage time. Like they did come back, with feasible, time to actually possibly, pull off something. But ultimately, like the Chargers had this well in hand for most of the game until they almost let it go.
Yeah, and needless to say, I did not get those 10 sacks from the Broncos defense. I think they got 3.
Yep,
But
that's correct. They got three.
this was by far the most points scored on their defense the entire season, and so that's why I was going with such a crazy game because I think the Chargers are honestly kind of mediocre.
Yeah, I don't think your pick was insane. Bo is getting better and better.
Yeah,
That's a team that might be competitive next year.
Bo Nix is like a higher fantasy quarterback than like Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes right now, and that's just silly.
Yeah, that's. I'm really, really surprised that he'd be higher than Allen. I think Allen, a few weeks in, was the number one fantasy quarterback.
Yeah, and then he had like 2 or 3 really,
Mahomes, I would
really bad
believe,
weeks.
because even though like you watch him and he's fantastic, like he just hasn't put up big numbers this season, even as he's gotten everything done that he's needed to.
Oh yeah, his numbers have been absolutely pedestrian.
And then I guess he's also had the bye now as well.
Yep. Next
Yeah.
up, we got the Steelers dumping on the Raiders. I didn't get to watch this game, but I heard Justin Fields played pretty well in this one.
Yeah, he's really found his rebirth in Pittsburgh. It's cool. He wasn't even like that bad on in Chicago, in like the final like year or two that he was there. Fields was just so maligned, and it's great to see him, in a renaissance in his career now. On the other hand, Las Vegas just what an absolute shit show that is.
I'll say. And when they made that coaching change last year, like, this is the coach for this team. This is there was
You
so
want to talk
much
about the trade
bullshit.
now or later?
What?
You want to talk about the trade now or later? Since we're talking about how Raiders are kind of going into a rebuilding mode.
Oh yeah, I guess we can talk about that now. The big news was the other day or this morning, I don't know, that Devontae Adams got it traded to the Jets to reunite with Aaron Rodgers. So
Reunite. Yeah, it's a conditional third round pick is all that the Raiders are getting for it. I think just for comparison, 2 years ago they traded for Devontae Adams from the Packers and gave up a first and second round non-conditional pick. Which I still thought was probably good value for Devontae Adams at the time, but it just did not work there. He had some good fantasy games early on, just never really gave them the spark they needed. I think that the big benefit for the Raiders in this, and probably why they wanted to trade him away for such little value, is just they don't have to pay his salary anymore, and they can really go into an earnest rebuilding mode with Adam.
Yeah, I think he's still got a lot of game left to play, but I
I
kind
do
of
too.
view of him like in the same stage of his career as like Stephon Diggs, where he's on a new team, But just like how Nico Collins is like, the undisputed number one over there, basically. I know he's hurt, but
Yeah.
before that, he was killing it.
Well,
I think with the Jets, I think Garrett Wilson's still going to be like the top guy. He's just so much younger, and there's a reason like Jerry Rice is like the best that ever played, and that's because he played like 22 seasons, and not a lot of wide receivers are super good after like 10 seasons.
yeah. It's not only playing, that many seasons, but being good in all of them, right?
Yeah.
And we kind of like yada yada though for the Houston New England game, but the fact that Nico Collins, I believe, was out this week, and they still put up 41 points, I think it
Well, that's
was
because
on the.
Joe Mixon finally came back and just took a shit all over the Patriots.
I
Yeah.
honestly like, even though it took Houston this week, like I thought that Nico was like the crux of what made their offense great. Obviously, CJ Stroud as well, and Mixon's great. But I thought that without Collins, they would become a little bit one-dimensional and would really kind of struggle. They did not struggle.
We still got
So
Diggs.
what? Yeah, sure. But like, everybody, thought, oh, Diggs is going to be the big star there. Collins was the one who was making all the great third down plays, scoring the touchdowns. Like, Diggs was a supporting actor to Nico Collins. And I just thought that it was so impressive that even without him, they were able to run on basically all their cylinders this week. But yeah, getting back to Adams, do you think he's going to be able to put up a lot of production on the kind of crappy Jets offense?
Well, because Aaron is like, a very well-known quarterback, I tend to still get a lot of the Jets games like in my area, and I've
Yeah,
watched every Jets game I can get my hands on. And I got
yeah,
to
they
be
look
honest,
bad.
every other receiver on that team is pretty damn lackluster, other than Wilson, and their tight end is also terrible. So yeah, I think he'll definitely get a shitload of
Besides,
looks,
okay, yeah.
especially after the like complete collapse of like Mike Williams. I mean, dude, this guy has like been so embarrassingly bad, and he was supposed to be like the big veteran number two guy that they brought in, and he's been absolute dog shit.
Here's maybe my modified theory on Aaron Rodgers and why I actually think this was a smart trade for them. Um, Watching him, like, he is clearly not the quarterback he used to be, but he can still throw the ball to generally the right place. He won't necessarily hit the receiver in the perfect place where they can then, beat the defender and run somewhere. But he can hit him on the run and, get the completion, which is more than we can say for at least a third, maybe half of the quarterbacks in the league to be able to do that very consistently. He can do that. He doesn't make real smart decisions, and it seems possibly just like the arrogance of being in his old age, right? Like people get more arrogant and less willing to please people as they get older. I think he has not developed a rapport with any receiver that he hasn't had rapport with in the past. Wilson maybe being an exception, but I think sometimes they even on a different page, and Wilson has to kind of adjust to him.
Yep,
I think that going back to a receiver that Aaron has already built not only the rapport but like all the reps and kind of having an idea of where your receiver is going to go will actually be really good for A-Rod. And if Rodgers can just make better decisions about when to throw the ball and can release it quicker because he clearly can't move around the pocket. I do think that there is potential for this to work really well because Adams is good enough to make plays after the catch as well.
if he can stay healthy, it's I can't imagine the team getting worse than being there. That's for sure. And now they just got to go dig up Jordy Nelson's corpse, and they'll be set.
There you go.
Okay, next up we got my boy Kirk performing a
Uh-huh.
demolition on the pathetic Panthers. I guess it was closer. At one point, the Panthers were actually winning this to my utter disgust, but then Kirk completely like blew the top off the lid here and ran away with it like in the second half.
Yeah, this would have definitely made for more knockouts in my Survivor League. We restarted it because everybody had been eliminated after the first 5 weeks. Somebody won the pot, and yeah, this week we only lost one player out of 99. So so yeah, we had much more predictable results this week than we have the last 5, and this would have changed a lot had the Panthers actually pulled off the upset here. Kirk Cousins is good. What can I say?
He's very good. Top 10
Yeah,
fantasy right now. Okay, let's get the painful part out. As I
let's go.
predicted, them Lions, They didn't just steal our lunch money like I was telling everyone. Don't even think the Cowboys, man. They're gonna.
They threw you in the school dumpster.
Yeah, they like in the dumpster, then in the toilet. They flushed it with the head in there. They pantsed you. They put the underwear over your head. Everything you can think of. They were styling on the Cowboys so hard. It was an absolute fucking pathetic showing. The same. I mean, if the Jets can fire their coach midseason, I got to. They say that he's already doubled down on keeping Mike McCarthy, but man, something's got to change because this is night and day of the last 3 years, and it's not just Dan Quinn leaving to be the Redskins coach.
Yeah, you might say Dallas's star has fallen. Man, can you get back Jason Garrett? Because he looks really, really good right about now.
I mean, he was pretty mediocre too, and
He looks really good right about now.
I think we were closer to a championship with Mike McCarthy. Honestly, last year was our big chance because of just how all the seeding worked and how the Eagles fumbled it late in the season. We wouldn't have had to play San Francisco till the championship if we didn't absolutely choke against the mediocre Packers at that point in time. But what are you gonna do? That's history.
This was an embarrassing loss, and do you guys have a bye this week?
Yeah, I have that on my thing here. The Bears and Cowboys are both on bye in Week 7, so
the players will have a lot of time to think about what they did.
Yeah, think about how they
McCarthy is going to rub their nose in it. But let me ask you this: I know that you've kind of been up and down about Dak over time. What do you think about him right now?
Well,
Mr. 13-1.
He did just get his new contract, so he's locked up for the next 4 years. So he's not going anywhere, and obviously Lamb isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
And between Trayvon Diggs, not Trayvon.
Yeah.
Between Trayvon Diggs, Parsons, Ferguson, and Bland, they're not going to be able to pay them all. So they're probably only going to be able to pay one, maybe two of those guys. So their window to win a Super Bowl, dare I say, or make a championship was the last 3 years. They're going to start losing parts the next few years. And their running game already sucked, and it was better the last several years. So the future is looking very grim for the Cowboys. They missed their window. The window was the last 3 years, and only then. As far as Dak, he's just... he's just too one-dimensional, and the Cowboys' playbook is just too one-dimensional right now. And that's honestly... the Cowboys have always...
You want to see a new OC there?
What?
You want to see a new OC there?
We've had 4 of those, and it hasn't really changed. I guess they were better when that young guy was... Kellen Moore was their offensive coordinator. I guess it was better then. But they've always been one-dimensional and very predictable. They just execute so well most of the time that it doesn't tend to matter. And that's not the case anymore. The offensive line sucks. Dak is one-dimensional. He's completely immobile now. He used to be very mobile, out of the pocket, could run off all the time if he wanted to, get lots of rushing touchdowns. He doesn't do any of that anymore. He holds the ball too long. He never throws it away. He's just taking 3-4 sacks a game. It's just he's
That's an interesting theory. So what I'm hearing is he really, his body isn't the same thing it used to be 4 years ago, and he needs to kind of adjust his play style to it.
His just pocket awareness has just gotten worse every season, and that's the kind of thing that, as you get older, you should probably be smarter in, even if you're not more physical. And Dak has just not gotten smarter, I think. I like him a lot personally.
Yeah.
It's just
yeah, same thing I feel with Sean McVay.
Yeah. So, the truth is, we're stuck with Dak. I still have faith in Dak personally, but he's skating on some mighty thin ice. That's all I can say, man. There's so many other problems. It's not just Dak's fault. The running game's non-existent. The offensive line is absolutely wretched. We got all these good pass rushers, they claim, but we have no pass rush. Our defense.
A 1-star review from Chrissy for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, defense is on fucking life support.
All right. Even I did ask you for your opinion, but man, I just want to get the next one out of the way. Okay, I can't have this hammer over my head all this time. Just
All
say
right,
it.
and then the
Just
last.
say it. I am an idiot for picking the New York Giants.
Well, the Giants' defense has taken like miles leaps in almost every game
Mhm.
this season. They have a top
Yeah.
10 defense right now, so this wasn't completely ridiculous. And the Bengals have a bottom 5 defense, believe it or
Mhm.
not.
Oh, in my opinion, I don't know about the stats, but in my opinion, bottom one.
In fantasy,
They
they
passed
have like the
Washington.
fourth worst defense. The Panthers are the worst, I think.
Panthers are definitely making a case for it too, but Cincinnati, I haven't seen them be able to stop anyone ever. They stopped the Giants this week, well enough.
Yeah, I'm surprised the Bengals actually weren't able to drop like 20 or 30 points on the Giants still, because their offense is still, crazy good. But
Yeah,
obviously, I think this was somewhat foolish to pick the Giants, even if they're trending up slightly.
yeah. And then last night's game, the Bills and the Jets. We both had the Bills. We both picked correctly. This is closer than we thought, but the refs, man, the refs were like on the New York Jets like salary that game.
There
There
were
were so
like
many
there,
plays where,
yeah.
like the Jets failed the third down conversion. The refs were like, let's give the Jets another three downs.
Well, I watched this game too. Honestly, both teams got a million penalties.
That
Yes,
is true.
there was
There
a
were
drive
there
where
were
the
some of these
Jets
bad
were
calls.
there
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
drive where the Jets were spoon fed a lot of things, but there was also a crazy drive where the Bills got like 3 pass interference calls too. So don't
That is
tell me
true.
it was
There
just the
were
Jets getting spoon fed shit.
there were a lot of bad calls on both sides. This is one of the worst officiated games like overall I've ever seen.
It was like
I
220 yards of
love when the refs
penalties.
would just like stand around and be like, Guys, we don't know what call to make here," and just like stall for New York to say, "Okay, guys, we got this." Um,
That being
but
said,
the ones that they called against the Bills were ones that like extended drives where they didn't need to be. A lot of the Buffalo ones, which again they went in favor of Buffalo, were on first or second down. The Jets, like the drive was over, and the refs were like, "Nah, we don't want it to be over." Then there was that Hail Mary at the end of the first half, right? The refs called that one wrong, and then New York had to say, "You guys suck." That was a touchdown. How does Buffalo let that happen?
first, I think it's a bit silly to say the refs were favoring either team in this game. There was like 220 yards of penalties, and
Uh huh.
both teams had almost like the same amount, basically. It was pretty crazy, so.
I'm being a little bit facetious. I don't think they were actually bribed, Chris. But like the impact of the bad calls repeatedly against the Bills kept this game close.
If anything, I think the Jets honestly could have ran away with this game. To be honest, there was a lot of like times. First of all, Aaron, this game was kind of robbed from Aaron. His kicker missed 2 field goals and an extra point, man.
Mm. Um. Oh yeah, the extra point that went just like way off
Yeah,
to the side, right?
yeah. I mean, this. I honestly feel like this was Aaron did everything he could to win this game.
Was that the Jets?
Yeah, but I think the Bills
It
also missed
was.
an extra point.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Both teams missed an extra point.
It was an ugly kicking game. There was a lot of swirling wind in that game. So what can I say, man? It was an ugly game, but I think the better team definitely won.
I suppose, yeah, they probably earned it,
We've got
but
our we've got our prop bets. You got your 3 out of 10 sacks for Denver, not quite there. And then I said two games go into overtime, one actually ending as a tie. I don't think we had any OTs this week,
no, I don't think so.
so we'll try to do better next week. Uh, and let's make our picks, man. Unless there's anything else you wanted to say about week 6.
No, I mean every week brings new like little interesting trivia and fun stuff to talk about, but I think that's about it.
You want to tell us some more things about whether the Cowboys aren't going to be good for the next 3 years?
I think I got my point across.
All right.
Window closed. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, this Thursday, first up, we've got the Broncos going to New Orleans. I probably, I've been watching a little too much football this season. I'll probably take this Thursday off to hang with family or something.
You're entitled to. Although it
Yeah,
seems like you do hang with family a lot while you watch the games.
that's true also. For this one, I think even though the Broncos disappointed me last week, but I can't ignore the Saints going into full implosion mode. I'm picking the Broncos for this one. I'm saying the defense gets back to being absolutely like top tier. Right now, they're the second best defense fantasy points wise, which I think says a lot. And so I'm
Yeah,
going with the Broncos for this one.
this is a tough pick for me too. I'm going to take the Broncos. I think their defense has shown that they're good. I don't think they're going to be able to entirely stop the Saints, but look, Denver's offense, is able to do enough to win these games with a good defensive performance. It's like the better version of the Tim Tebow-led Broncos, where they would do just enough.
Yeah, they're not even at Jay Cutler status yet. We'll have to wait and see. So,
Cutler was a respectable journeyman, sir.
yeah, he was good. He was
Yeah,
decent.
yeah.
I'm just saying
That's more like it.
they're not there yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, next up we got Shit Bowl 7. The 1-5 Patriots play in London against the 1-5 Jags.
Actually, my guilty pleasure is trying to pick games like this one.
Yeah, and as you're fond of saying, one of these teams has to win.
It's in the rules.
Yes. Oh man, this is tough.
I'm
It's
taking Jacksonville.
it's like I could feel like the Patriots and that rookie quarterback had like a pretty good game in his debut Sunday. So
Yeah, it
I
was.
think I'm actually going to pick the Patriots. I'm going to say the Jaguars are just such depressed wrecks. And now that the Patriots got this new rookie quarterback who throws like 3 touchdowns in his NFL debut, I'm going to say that the optimism energy favors the Patriots, where the Jaguars last season they probably had like divisional round championship aspirations, and they've just absolutely collapsed since then. So I'm gonna go for optimism energy sake. We're going with the Patriots.
Look, May, did some good things. I mean, this is his first start. I guess they figured Jacoby Brissett is not the answer. Um, I'm not saying he's bad, right? Like, all the quarterbacks, it pretty much always takes time to come into your own as a quarterback to learn the speed of the league and actually play in it against a defense that wants to knock you to the turf. And May did some good things. It's definitely hopeful signs, but he also threw picks. He scored a lot of his points in garbage time. Against the Texans. I don't think that he's going to be able to bring out what it takes when it matters against the Jags. I'm not saying he's not going to get good. I just don't think it's going to happen in his second start. I'm taking the Jags, and you're taking the Patriots, huh?
Yeah, I think the Patriots have more to play for. I think the Jags are just like in complete tank mode, right?
I mean, when they start trading away, all of their, halfway good players, then we can say, okay, they're really in tank mode.
Also, their like starting running back just went down, so that
I
doesn't
think they're
help.
still trying to win games. The coach is probably like, I do want a job next year.
All right, next up we got Seattle going to Atlanta into the Bears pit to play my boy Kirk. And I got to go with Kirk. These Seahawks, they might have started 3-0, but as soon as they stopped playing like handicapped and paraplegic guys, they've just imploded also.
How dare you?
I think Geno Smith has still got a lot of good games left in him, but this one could actually be like a shootout with kind of the lackluster defense of both of these teams, sort of. I don't know.
I don't think it's going to be a shootout. I don't think Seattle's going to score enough points to make it a shootout. I don't think Atlanta's going to need to score enough points to make it a shootout. I've got Atlanta all the way here.
Yeah. I almost certainly thought you'd pick the Seahawks just because you like to pick crazy things.
I do, but that's not where my spice is coming from this week.
All right, next up we got the Titans going to Buffalo, and be pretty hard to rationalize picking the Titans even if the Bills have kind of lost a step a little bit here and there. So I don't feel like there's a hell of a lot to say about this. I feel like we talk more about the Jaguars just because the Titans are almost such a known mediocre quality by this point. So we're definitely got to go with the Bills, right? Are you going for
really
that
does.
upset?
No, not here. The Titans don't seem to be able to do anything really well. And Buffalo's look, I had him as the best team in the league after like 3 weeks. I think even 4 weeks. I've hopped off that train, but Buffalo's still really, really good. They will handily beat the Titans.
Next up, we've got the Bengals going to Cleveland. I feel like this is kind of very similar to the last game. Yeah, the Bengals are just way better than 2-4 personally. Yeah, their defense is wretched, but Deshaun Watson, of course, is just a clown. So, someone was it you that told me the other day that he settled more like sexual assault cases than he's thrown touchdowns with the Browns since he's been there?
No, I wasn't the one who quipped that.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Someone told, or I heard that somewhere. It was like
that's
he's
great
actually
though.
he's been so unproductive. I could actually believe that's true. I don't know.
I think it is true. He's settled like 20 sexual assault cases.
I heard it was like 40 or something.
It might have been. I think I thought it was in the realm of the low 20s, but yeah, he's an absolute pig. And throwing a lot of money at something doesn't mean that you didn't do it. It would be nice if you could throw a football as well as you could throw money at crimes.
Yeah, I know.
This guy just, Watson. Look, I've picked on him enough on this channel before. He has absolutely zero football intelligence. And that's not any type of racist code for he's black. There are a ton of really smart black quarterbacks in the league. I mean, we're watching several of them rise right now, and look at Mahomes, man. One of the smartest quarterbacks in football. Jaden Daniels seems to be one of the smartest quarterbacks in football.
Dak Prescott.
Deshaun Watson is just an idiot that doesn't know what to do with himself on the field or off of it.
I definitely didn't even think about him being black because I think Johnny Manziel was like just a stupid Browns quarterback almost.
It's just like some people some people do say football IQ as kind of like a dog whistle, exactly. Yeah. But Deshaun Watson really just has none of it.
No.
He throws the ball all the wrong places. He has no idea when to just get rid of the football. That was actually one of Tom Brady's best traits. People always think of him just like landing those dimes. One of Tom Brady's best traits was he knew when to just get rid of it and not take a sack.
That's true. Yeah.
And he'd just move on to the next play. Deshaun Watson has none of that.
First
and
off,
again, when you pay him $280 million guaranteed, you can't put together a team around him. You just can't. You don't have the money for it.
I'll say this guy's destroying the remainder of Amari
Cleveland's
Cooper's
defense cannot carry this team. Yeah.
First off, you're absolutely wrong. You should always keep making fun of Deshaun Watson, just like Antonio Brown.
Yeah, AB deserved it as well.
You should never stop making fun of him. Okay, now that we've thoroughly put him in the dumpster, next up we've got a much closer and exciting game between the Texans at Green Bay. And this one's tough, man, because the Packers can ball, and so can the Texans, man. Both defenses, I feel like, are kind of around the same place, kind of mediocre. But this is tough, man. What do you think?
I think watching Houston last week, I would not be able to pick against them here. Green Bay, better than anybody thought they'd be this year. They're really making everything work there. They're playing good football. They've pulled out a lot of clutch third and fourth downs this season as well, I think. Green Bay is not to be trifled with. They're playing at home, which is cool. Always great playing in front of the Cheeseheads, right? I can't pick against Houston with how clutch they've been this season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with anything you said there. 5-1, that's pretty impressive. I think I'm going to go against the grain, and I'm going to say that Jordan Love, a couple weeks back from injury, he's back in his old self. I'm going to go with the Packers, honestly. And maybe
I think that's a fine pick.
Fraction of an upset, possibly.
Just a fraction. 3/7 upset.
All right, the Dolphins back on the chopping block from their bye week against the Colts in Indianapolis. This is almost like a shit bowl 0.5. Who's playing for the Dolphins quarterback right now?
I think it's still Tyler Huntley.
Dan Marino? Okay.
Dan Marino had a little
Ryan
bit of
Tannehill.
controversy.
Okay.
What? I'm sure they would like Tannehill back right now. Look, I've said it a lot of times. It was idiotic to get rid of Mike White. It was even more idiotic to not just take him right back off the Bills practice squad once Tua went down. But Tyler Huntley was not awful 2 weeks ago.
Not
Or
awful.
last time they played. I mean,
What a great endorsement.
yeah, not awful. Look, they won the game. It was against the stinky Patriots. Will they be able to do it against the mediocre Colts? I don't think so. I think we take the Colts here, especially at home. Who are you
Oh.
going for?
Well, I think if Anthony Richardson comes back, they'll dumpster the Dolphins. And I think if Joe Flacco plays another game, they'll obliterate the Dolphins. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm going with the Colts.
Okay.
I think Joe Flacco has just been. He's shown that he's still got like a lot left, man. He's
Flacco
been
got game.
he's been super good in his 2 or 3 games, and he was stupid good last season with the Browns. So
Honestly, I never thought he was an elite quarterback. Like, I think he's playing almost as well now as he ever has.
he was definitely an elite quarterback when he was with the
I don't
Ravens.
believe that for a second. He was good, and I think he's good now.
Okay, well, good, elite, whatever.
A lot of air between those two. All right, Detroit, Minnesota.
This one's definitely going to be really interesting, especially after the pounding the Lions gave the Cowboys for whatever that's worth. We got the Lions going at home against the Minnesota, playing the Minnesota Vikings at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's kind of just like the Packers and the Texans, where one of these great teams. This is so tough.
This is 4-1 Lions against the 5-0
Yeah.
Vikes. It's just them and KC that's undefeated right now, right?
Yeah, that's true. And the Vikings were on bye last week, I think, also. Boy, what do you think? This is really tough to call this one.
Yeah. I think people still have question marks over whether the Vikings are for real. Detroit is clearly for real. I don't think the Vikings are going to get their first loss at home. I mean, they're just playing at such a high level right now. I'm taking the Vikings, even if that might actually be an upset.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give you a little bit of chance to worm your way back into dignity and contention. I'm going to take the Lions.
Wow, that's so generous of you to
Yeah,
take the excellent Lions in this game.
I think what you said is true. I think the Vikings are still kind of, even if they're undefeated, I still think they have a lot to prove. You know?
Yeah.
Even though the couple of teams they've beaten are really good. Like, they gave the Texans their only loss, and they also beat San Francisco, so. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's tough.
I mean, it's pretty cool to see what they're doing, and I mean, Darnold has been such a great story.
Yeah, I'm still not a believer, but, I'm not,
Yeah,
waiting on it.
Minnesota, 2 or 3 years ago, I think started off like 11-0, right? And
Kirk.
people were still like, they won most of their, or 10-1, something really, really, really good.
Kirk
And like
Cousins.
all of their wins were by 7 or fewer points, and
Kirk
people were saying,
Cousins.
"I'm not sure they're for." Go on.
That was Kirk.
Yeah, and people were saying, "I'm not sure that like they're for real," and they ended up like dropping a lot of games in the end of the season. I think they were one and done in the playoffs, right? So maybe this is their story, but I don't think it's time for them to collapse yet. Like, especially while people don't believe in them, I think they have something to prove.
All right. Next up, we've got Philadelphia going to the Giants, and I think
Do
this
we
will
need to even talk about this one?
Well, I think it'll actually be a surprisingly close game for probably the same
Uh,
reason why you thought the Giants had a chance against the Bengals. I think the Eagles are vastly underperforming, and I think the
That's fair.
Giants are slightly overperforming.
That's fair. I still think Philly is the type of team that's either going to blow out a bad team or lose to them. I don't see them like getting a close win. I still think Philly more than likely is going to blow out the Giants. If anything, if the odds are long enough on the Giants, I think you take the Giants to actually win outright. But I don't think I don't think they're close to 50-50 to do so.
So you're going with the Eagles?
I'm going with the Eagles, just because the rules like don't allow me to make like that spicy of a pick here.
The rules?
Yeah, I lost to a bunch of rules.
I'm also going to go with the Eagles. I think now that AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are both back, that I think they're going to start putting up a lot more points.
They're just so unorganized.
Yeah,
Like they find ways to just like stall their own drives. It's sad to watch because they're a talented team.
yeah, and they have like Saquon Barkley. It's like they got all this crap, and it's hard to can't put it together. All
Yeah,
right, next up we've got the Raiders traveling to Los Angeles against the Rams, who are 1-4.
this is a Las Vegas showdown. They're not really traveling at all.
Las Vegas versus Los Angeles.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Never
that's
mind
two
me. They
different
are
states there.
traveling.
Yeah,
They are traveling. I don't know why I said that.
yeah.
Jeez, yeah. Go on. Never mind me.
You meant like the Chargers if they were playing the
Yeah,
Rams.
like
Yeah.
yeah, I did, and I was just like both of these teams have switched their city that they play in recently. Um, so I think that's kind of what I was thinking of. Like, oh, they both switched, and there's two Los Angeles teams. So they must both be in Los Angeles. Great football analysis right there.
All
Who you
right.
got?
This one's kind of similar to the Patriots Jaguars, but I think that one's even more lowbrow than this one. So that one definitely earns the title of Shit Bowl in London. But this one's pretty close.
Oh yeah, I think these are both better teams than either one of the Patriots or Jaguars has been this season.
I'm not. I don't say it with a ton of confidence, but I think I have to go with the Rams, just because I think they have more talent and ceiling.
Uh
Yeah,
huh. Yeah, Las Vegas is in meltdown mode. They just traded away probably their best player. Um, as much as Sean McVay is going to try to lose this game, the Rams, I think, coming off of a week of rest. Injuries have been one of their big problems this season. Coaching has been the other one. I think the Rams are going to find a way to win this.
definitely. Yeah, I think so. Next up, we've got Carolina heading to DC to play the Redskins, and I still think they looked really good in their loss to Baltimore. Not obviously good enough to win, but they're definitely a shitload better than the Panthers. That's for sure. I think with how hot like Jaden Daniels has been playing, I wouldn't be surprised they dropped 40 points on the Panthers just as like a comeback win. You know.
Yeah, I agree with you and everything you said, except that they looked really good in week 6. I think this is the worst they've looked really since the first 2 weeks,
Well, that
and
was
it's
a
by a
really good
wide amount.
team. You know.
Yeah. It's against a good team. I mean, the Ravens really more known for their great offense than having a great defense. But it's not like their defense is the Bengals. Um, Daniels missed a few throws. In addition to making some really good ones. He was just so fire. I mean, he was putting up. I think he had like a 90+% like average completion rate between weeks 3 and 4. There was a little bit of a step back last week. I'm going to call that a fluke. I think he's going to absolutely destroy Carolina's sieve of a defense.
Be hard not
Definitely
to.
taking, definitely taking the Commanders. And my prop bet is in this game. Do you want me to give it to you now?
We can wait.
All right.
All right, next up in a Super Bowl rematch, we have the Chiefs off of their bye week coming to San Francisco to play the Niners. And everyone's going to get this game nationally, even if it's not in your market, probably. This is definitely a pretty cool game.
Yeah, this is just a late afternoon game, though, right?
Yes.
So you gotta hope that it's not going to be on the same channel as your home market game is, which I guess would be CBS, since Kansas City's the away team.
True that. Good thing the
So if
Cowboys are
you're
on bye.
Yeah, yeah. And besides, Cowboys are NFC. You'd be able to get this. So enjoy that game. Um, Actually, my Dolphins are playing at 1 o'clock. I think so. I might be able to get this game as well. I hope so. Who are you taking?
Oh, this is tough. I've watched every Chiefs game. My mom really likes the Chiefs.
This isn't tough for me at all. I'm going to give you my pick.
Okay, let's hear it. Let's hear that
Yeah,
rationale.
I'm taking the Chiefs. They have looked so good this season, even when they haven't. What I
They
mean by
haven't
that
looked
is
good.
even when they haven't, they've looked good. They've made mistakes, and they've done enough just in terms of the blocking and tackling, the making the third downs, the basically just being able to consistently move the ball, and then play enough defense to stop the opponents. Basically, even if they give up a few toxic plays, they also cause a lot of turnovers on punts, meaning force them to go 3 and out. They're absolutely playing well enough to make up for all their mistakes. San Francisco is not bad, but not playing up to their standard. For me, this is an easy pick for the Chiefs.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said, but I have watched most of the Chiefs games, and while the Vikings have looked really good for the most part, and they're 5-0, I think the Chiefs are very lucky to not be like 2-3. Honestly, I think the Chiefs are probably one of the most lackluster 5-0 teams statistically in NFL history, and this is certainly like Mahomes has had like a worse statistical start to this season than even last season when he had that insanely shit like receiving core that dropped everything. I'm actually going to go with the 49ers to hand the Chiefs their
Ooh,
first
okay,
loss. It is a home
okay.
game. I don't really think that's a bit. I'm not a big believer in like the home field advantage kind of thing.
If nothing else, the rest favor the home team.
Sure. But I think the 49ers, even without like Christian McCaffrey, I still think they have a ton of offensive prowess and are extremely well coached and stuff like that. I think that's true of the Chiefs though too, well coached. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna go with the Niners. I don't think it's a super upset. I mean, the Niners are still stupid good. I know they're 3-3. They've had some bad luck and all that, but yeah, I'm going with the Niners, man.
Is it bad luck? I mean, they've lost to bad teams.
Yeah, I mean they've had some stinkers, but I've
Yeah,
also watched. They still got it.
I can't see a team that loses teams like that being the favorite against a team like Kansas City.
I think
That
the
as
Chiefs are the
bad as they
favorite.
may look statistically, or like as bad as the mistakes they've made have been, the fact that they can clean those up and be the best team in the NFL, just speaks to me as saying that I mean, certainly, San Fran's got a chance. I think the Chiefs are heavy favorites in my eyes.
I honestly don't think the Chiefs are the best team in the NFL, even if they're undefeated,
Well, I don't think they
because
are right now, but I think if they clean up their mistakes, they will be.
just the quality of their wins has been so mediocre. I know they're 5-0, and that does say a lot, but
You can only beat the teams on your schedule.
true that.
They're about to beat San Francisco this week.
I,
And now
I,
that I'm saying this multiple times so confidently, I'm probably going to jinx them.
I think I'd be. I'm not saying they're not the favorites.
Uh-huh.
I think the
Wouldn't
Niners
have.
got it though. All right, and then in the night game, we've got the Jets heading over to Pittsburgh against the Steelers, and this should be a pretty close game, also. I think.
This is an interesting story, right? Like a team that's not good, but not that bad, but overhyped. And just got better with the addition of Devontae. Obviously, they're not going to have a lot of time to work together this week. Against a surprisingly good Steelers team.
Yeah, I think maybe in another 4 or 5 weeks we'll have a better idea of where the Steelers are. I know their defense is like absolutely top tier, vicious pass rush. If
The
Aaron was
Brown game looks relatively good as well.
yeah if Aaron was gonna get hurt this season, it's probably gonna be in this game. So,
I want your prop bet.
yeah, so
Yeah, Aaron already got a little bit hurt in the last game. He was able to play through it, but he clearly was not moving around well after that.
I used
You know,
Gimpy in the
uh,
2 games before that too.
yeah, yeah. I mean, if he plays and they aggravate that, on a bad tackle or whatever, he could be thrown out by injury for the season.
Who are you going for this?
I've got the Steelers. I don't think they really have a serious weakness right now. I mean, maybe parts of their special teams. Um, I think that they're just a better team. You know I don't believe in the Jets. I think like the Jets organization is trying, right? It's not like Cleveland and just a bunch of clowns in a clown car. Um, but that they bought too much into the Aaron Rodgers hype. They're going all in on him, and it's leading to mediocre results. It really is. I'm taking Pittsburgh at home. I do think it'll be a close game, but I think the Steelers are easily good enough to win this one.
Well, you know what? The
What?
Cowboys beat the Steelers at home, and that's got to say something about them. So I'm taking the Jets.
Okay.
I know it
Okay.
seems a little crazy. I don't. I think they're even though they're 4-2 and the Jets are 2-4. I don't really see these teams as too terribly far apart. Honestly, I don't think Justin Fields is really all that great. And according to my fantasy league, the Jets defense has given up the least amount of points to the quarterback position. And that's got to say something because I think Justin Fields is pretty overrated, honestly. But that Steelers defense is definitely ferocious. So
Well, I mean, in fairness, right? When the Jets can't move the ball, right? You don't really need to throw against them.
I suppose.
I agree with you. I think there's not a ton of distances between these two teams. I just think that I think there's enough. I mean, look, even with a little bit of distance, right? I think Pittsburgh's the better team.
Yeah, I would say they're the favorites, especially because they're at home and all that.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with Devontae, though. Once they've had another like 3 or 4 weeks to catch up on their chemistry.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he went for 100 yards his first game back or something.
Yeah, the when the season started, the over under on wins for the Jets. Most sites had 9.5, or if you wanted good odds, some sites actually offered 10.5 over under, so they would need 11 wins for you to actually win that bet if you had
Boy,
the over.
11's optimistic.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think is a more realistic over under right now? Because I'm gonna say the same thing that I said at the beginning of the season, 6.5.
Well,
What do
I'm
you
not a
think?
gambleholic, so I'm not really sure what all those terms mean, but I think 9 and
Uh,
7 wouldn't be, or 9 and 8, I don't think would be completely unreasonable.
Yeah, I think that's kind of their best case scenario, and I
Yeah.
think even that would be hard for them to do at this point. But it could happen. All right, Baltimore, Tampa Bay, maybe an interesting one.
I mean, it's got to be an interesting one. If both these teams are 4-2 and both these
hmm
teams are putting up 30, 40 points a game, just like Baltimore versus Washington, this has definitely got to be a barn burner.
Baltimore lost their first 2 games, and Tampa Bay has lost 2 of their last 3, I believe. Is that right?
Uh,
I think
yeah,
they started
something
at
like
3
that.
Yeah, so Baltimore is definitely the rising star here.
True. There's a lot of good games this week.
What do you think about this? Like, when's the last time you saw Baltimore looking sketchy?
I guess it was only the first 2 weeks, and even those losses were pretty good. So I don't say the Ravens are like a soft 6-0. Believe it or not.
I mean, Queen head ball should be king.
Yeah. I mean, we saw that game 2 weeks ago where Ravens
Uh-huh.
and the Bengals both had 38, 40 points or something. I
Yeah.
feel like this could be a rematch of that because Baker's been playing out of his damn mind, and he can definitely put up a shitload of points.
Yeah, Baker's done well. The receiving core around him has
Yeah,
really kind of risen to the occasion too. I don't think that we expected a lot out of the Bucks receiving core
I
this
wasn't
season.
a believer in him last season, but he's proved me a fool, and he's been doing really well for his resurgent career.
Yeah.
But
By the way,
even all that,
remind me which teams decided that they were too good for Baker Mayfield.
it was the
Remind me.
Browns, right?
The Browns and the Panthers, I think.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. The Panthers too.
Like the Browns and the Panthers
Well,
decided, nah, we can do a lot better than Baker Mayfield,
first, I don't think
and
he
that worked for him,
was. Yeah,
Chrissy.
I don't think he was a starter with the Panthers. And the truth is, when he was in Cleveland, he just wasn't playing as well as he is now. Yeah.
I mean, they were sabotaging him though. Like he was better than he looked in Cleveland. I agree, it was not great. He was better than he looked in Cleveland, and just the coaching, the personnel decisions, the play calling, that they were sabotaging the poor guy.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
You
What do
know, their
you?
line was playing okay, but not great. But yeah, it was just bad decision making from everybody that wasn't the players there. That was just sabotaging Baker. And yeah, with a competent system around him, you can see what he's doing in Tampa Bay. So good for him. I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, I'm also gonna take the Ravens. They've just looked too unstoppable, even in defeat.
What I just said about
Contradictory.
like the Chiefs a few minutes ago, that if they could fix their mistakes, that they could be the best team in the league. Baltimore's looking like they're actually kind of doing that. They're still making a few mistakes, but every week looks better for the Ravens. Uh, oh my God! Like their entire like their rushing game. I mean, it goes so many people down on the depth chart. It is just so impressive to me to watch Baltimore run the ball when this many different running backs can rush so well. You just have to say the line must be superb. It's really hard to tell how good like the tackles are on teams, but yeah, when this many running backs can look like superstars.
Well, that's the same thing the
Justice looks great.
49ers have.
Yeah. To some extent, that's true. Although obviously, like CMC, head and shoulders above the rest. But
That's what I used to
um,
think, and then they plugged that next guy in, and he's like, "Well, I'm. You got to pick me up off the waiver wire instantly."
think of how good CMC looked on Carolina, though.
Yep. So
But
yeah,
yeah, no, I agree with you. Like San Francisco's offensive line also makes everybody look good. Um, yeah, Baltimore is just like watching them rush the ball and just be unstoppable against even the good defenses in the league. It's easy to run on a bad defense. What Baltimore does against good defenses is really really impressive. And I don't know. Would you say right now they look like the best team in the league?
yes, I think the Ravens are the best team in the league right
Better
now.
than Minnesota?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think if they
Um,
played the Chiefs again, they would beat the Chiefs.
I would still probably take the Chiefs in that, but I can absolutely see what you're saying,
And the
and
Chiefs were lucky to beat them in Week 1. You know?
no question about that. But they also like Baltimore deserves to lose that game as well. That was Baltimore at their worst. Yeah, I'm taking the Ravens. You're taking the Ravens, and I think we both respect what the Bucks are doing.
Yeah, of course. All
Yeah.
right, finally on the other half of Monday night, we got the Chargers traveling to Arizona to play the Cardinals. And this is kind of just like last week where the Cardinals were playing the Packers. In fact, these are kind of almost the same team in my heart. They're both mediocre, and I don't really trust
Yeah.
Murray or Herbert. So this one's actually pretty. There are so many close games this week. There's going to be a lot of fireworks.
These are two different teams that really can give you anything on any given week. I think the
Yeah.
Cardinals even more than the Chargers, but either team can play up or down, and I don't even think they necessarily play to their opponent. They just like they shuffle the deck, they draw a card, and it's either an ace or a deuce.
Yeah. Hate to say this, I just think the Cardinals have a higher ceiling, even if Murray
They do,
sucks.
they
So
do for sure.
I think I have to pick the Cardinals. I think the Chargers are mediocre as fuck though as well. So
I think so too. I've seen so little of the Chargers this season that I actually like went to look at their injury report before we did this video. And they are missing three offensive tackles. So that's maybe why they look so mediocre, right? Like when you have that much dysfunction on your line, it can be tough. And with that said, for that reason alone, I am going to take the Chargers in this game.
you're taking the Chargers because they're
I'm
hurt.
sorry. I'm sorry. I said the Chargers. I meant the Cardinals
Okay, he's like
are missing three offensive
they're
tackles. My
missing their
bad.
offensive line, and that's why I'm taking them. Okay.
That would be a real Jason pick. No, I'm sorry. The Cardinals are missing three offensive tackles, is what I meant. The Chargers, have injuries here and there, but seem to be healthier.
Wait,
And
wait, wait,
for
wait,
that
wait.
reason alone, I'm going to take the Chargers. I agree with you completely. The House of Cards has a higher ceiling.
Okay. confused me there.
I said the wrong stuff. Sorry. But so we've got the New England Jacksonville, we've got Green Bay Houston, we've got Detroit Minnesota, San Francisco Kansas City. Oh wow, we have New York Jets, Pittsburgh, and Arizona Chargers. We've got 6 different games this week. I can catch up, or I can fall 12 behind.
Yeah, I think that's the most we've ever had in one week.
It is. It is.
So
It's going to
many
be an
great
exciting
games
week.
this week. All right, let's hear the crazy prop bet.
All right, I've got that Jaden Daniels himself, not just the team, but Jaden is going to score 5 touchdowns, and to make the prop bet spicier, on one of those touchdowns, they're going to miss the extra point.
Oh, all right. I mean, that actually just makes a lot of sense. I don't know if that's bold enough.
You want to take it and make it even bolder? Like I want to, but prop bets need to be things that can actually happen, not not somebody throwing three pick sixes and winning the game.
I always come up with these at the last minute as I'm like looking through the teams and stuff.
Okay, you can do that.
Let's see.
What do you think is the craziest possible thing that can actually happen this week?
Oh, mine don't tend to be very crazy. They're kind of statistical things. Your goofy things with like the logos and shit are just like crazy. I'm gonna say that I'm going to say all of the 49ers running backs will combine for 5 rushing touchdowns.
49ers, 5 rushing touchdowns, and that doesn't even include quarterback rushes?
I say all the 49ers will account for 5 rushing touchdowns between Mason and the other 2 guys, and perhaps Purdy, perhaps sneak.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right, that's fine. We've got 2 different prop bets involving 5 touchdowns.
That's why I came up with it.
All right, that's fair. We'll take that. That's an interesting bit of spice, especially against like the the bend not but not break Kansas City defense.
Well, I hate Mahomes. I'm a hater, so the hell with him.
You gotta admit their defense is good.
Yes, it is good.
Yeah, so if the 49ers can pull off 5 rush touchdowns, that would be the world turned upside down in the NFL. It's a good bet. All right, man. Been fun. I guess we'll see where the Week 7 of results takes us. Is there one game that you're looking forward to the most?
I don't know, man. There is so many good games. I feel like I should go back in time, get that NFL thingamabob that lets you watch all the games, and then I wish I could watch almost most of these live. There's so
I think
many.
you can still buy a Sunday ticket if you want. Like you
Yeah.
don't have to get it at the beginning of the season.
But the
You only pay
spoilers-
for like the months that you use it.
The spoilers, my guy. I want to watch them all live, though. You know.
That's what Sunday ticket is.
Well, obviously you can't watch more than one game live.
Okay. So you want to like basically like get some type of like feed in directly into your brain where you're watching 16 games at once.
Not all 16. Like, I'm not honestly too psyched about the Jaguars.
You don't care about
Patriots.
Jacksonville, New England.
Yeah, but I feel like there's a good like 6 or 7 of these that are really fun. Like, I always like watching Kirk. I like watching Josh. I'd love to watch Texans and the Packers play. That's 3. I'd love to watch the Lions and Vikings. I like the Eagles, so I'd like to watch them shit on the Giants. Of course, I want to watch the Chiefs and the Niners, and of course, I'm a big Aaron Rodgers fan. But I'd also like to watch the Ravens and the Bucks. So that's like 6, 7, 8 games or something. So
Yeah, I haven't had Sunday ticket for like a year and a half now. They've just been basically doing like more and more scummy stuff with the cable companies. But while I did, what I like to do is just I pick like 3 or 4 games during the particularly the 1 o'clock hour, the Sunday early afternoon games, and I would just flip between them. Obviously there's a lot of commercials, so that you're not missing a ton. But just basically watch whatever was interesting that was happening. It was almost like kind of like my own Red Zone channel that I was creating for myself. The exception was when the Dolphins were playing, except when they were commercial, I'd always be watching the Dolphins. But it's definitely fun to switch between like 3 or 4 games and just like see all these storylines unfold at once, especially when you get into the fourth quarter. and some of the games get really close.
All
Man,
right.
nothing like a good game of football.
Definitely got to end this video because these games are so much fun to talk about. This game is actually, or this video is actually taken longer than our first video where we talked about our childhoods.
Yeah, we started this off like real quick. We were like yada yadaing every game from last week, and then we fell into that like let's talk about everything curse. It was fun though.
Yep. So many contested picks. It'd be super fun to see how this shit turns out.
Yeah. Look, if I can go 3-3 against you, given what
Yeah.
a juggernaut you've been in the last few weeks, I'll be happy.
This guy's his best case scenario is I hope I just stay where I am.
I hope I don't lose more money.
All right, that does it for week 7. We'll see you guys next time.
Take care.